Hello, how's it going? I just seen this movie called Unplanned, and I don't know. I just felt like I should watch it. You know, didn't currently work today, so um, very sorry. Gotta lose some tension in my neck. Ah. But I think the movie is great. A great movie. Um, it's when I first saw the beginning, it was like, this is a little dramatic, and then it was like a flash forward. I guess you could call it a movie review. I guess every time I watch a movie, I want to give my first thoughts. And so the antagonist seemed very comic book villain. Now, one of the things I do want to preface this, or at least say, is that I used to be a little more skeptical, and after watching like Catholics kind of basically condemn Christian movies, and hear people condemn them, and it's like, to me, that's like self-hate to me. But after seeing that, it's just like, and not just seeing that, but seeing like atheists, anti-theists and stuff like that criticize the movie, and they I'll say, even for myself, Guys Not Dead 3 was unnecessary. I don't think it should have came out. It just seemed real unnecessary. It's just like, it was good, the first one. First one was great. I personally think, in the same way, I think a lot of these Christian movies that's coming out, they're great. I think they're great. Not so much from the traditional sense. Sorry, not so much from the traditional sense, but more so from the sense that, like, they serve purposes. They serve a purpose. They're entertaining. Sorry, it's like, wow, it's bright. It's bright. So sorry about that. It's gonna be kind of like Dark Knight-ish, but yeah, it's gonna be like, it seems kind of funny and interesting because when I see them, they don't come across. They're not a movie like other movies, right? And people may say, I don't know what people will say, but for me, when I watched the movie, definitely the structure and the formatting was different, the presentation was different. But if you see it, like, for instance, Guys Not Dead 1 and number 2, the presentation of these movies aren't, in the fact that aren't, and even filmmaking perspective, if you want to see a movie like that, you see Woodlawn. Woodlawn is a movie where it's like, it's inspirational, it's great. You can check the filmography and all that stuff, the cinematography and the filmmaking and the directing and all that stuff. Great, look at that. But when you see stuff like Guys Not Dead and stuff, that's a statement. Guys Not Dead. You see number 2, Guys Not Dead 2. Three is a little stretch. I don't think that was. I can't put much confidence in stock in that one. That didn't seem very good to me. But it seemed to me like the Guys Not Dead movies, they serve great purposes of putting cinematography and apologetics in the same arena, in the cinema, and it's great. It's a great tool, and I definitely think, in terms of these people who are, and I don't know, I've heard that they say it's like exaggerated and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like, there's plenty of things that's exaggerated. This is cinema. What are you talking about? I'm pretty surprised by that. I haven't seen too many video or phones actually record the moon like that. It's kind of weird to me. But yeah, and so, considering that, it was just like, when I see how these movies are, some of them are like, it's either you're a Christian, you understand what your stuff is and understand apologetics, or you don't, and if you don't know about apologetics, you'll assume things. You assume, like, narratives and stuff. Oh, well, they're just out to make comic book villains and stuff like that. Well, from my perspective, and from when I was digging into apologetics, because I had questions and I was wondering them answers, I saw it. And when I seen number 1, when I seen number 2 as well, when they had what is his name? I can't remember his name. He's the guy who made The Case for Christ. Amazing movie. I recommend somebody see that. But when I saw them, It was great. They both were great movies, and they both taught Christians who young in the faith. I thought those movies were great for Christians and great on the movie screen. I think they both serve their purpose. I'm thinking about watching Breakthrough because I know, like for myself, whenever I've seen a lot of these movies, these Christian themed movies, I've always had skepticism where I'm like, this don't seem too appealing, And then I was surprised to see that it was actually pretty decent. But yeah, in this movie, there's this lady in here who's like some sort of authority. She's an authority figure, and the Planned Parenthood office, and then she gets moved over to another place, and the main lead character, don't know her name. I'm sorry, but I don't know her name. But she takes on the mantle, and she, in her own right, is find justifications for joining the Planned Parenthood, and before that she got recruited and all that stuff, and then she takes a journey through Planned Parenthood. Sorry, but in the beginning you see as to why she decided to leave, and then you follow her journey before then, and her fights and belief that she was actually doing a good thing. And so I think it's great. I think that and I think people need to. I think when people watch this, and when they watch a lot of things, because one of the things that actually got me interested in it was the controversy. It's like, why is this stuff controversial? But yeah, when you watch this, I say you need to watch this standalone as a movie, and you need to just look at it. Because for me, when I watch it, I'm like, okay, this antagonist is very comic book villainish. Like, she seemed like a comic book villain. Like, it's like, as she say, like, she could be like in an underground lair, wringing her hands, scheming of how to mess up somebody else, like mess up the protagonist. That's the person I could view her as, just like those comic book villains. But considering the movie as a whole, I think it was decent, pretty decent. Some things, but one thing I did notice throughout the movie was that she had overwhelming support. And you had the Christians there. They weren't, and you notice that, like, while they were trying to be honest and genuine, they tried to be very notable about what they said. Not so much in a bad way. Everybody tries to take note of what they do and what they say. But for them, they there was a moment where she has a child. She has a child, and like in the beginning where she has a child, but she's expectant, and then she realizes, oh wow, that's great, and the Christians at the they're outside this gate of the abortion clinic, and they both realize they're both expectant, and the lady, she starts to like brag on the chat on having a child, and you see her pull back, like, oh wait, this might be inappropriate, despite them both having children. And it's like, to me, I could see that. I could realize that as a Christian, like, you want to speak from your heart, but you know where that's coming from, and there's times where you try to exercise prudence, and you try to be like, oh wait, I don't want to go too far, I don't want to step over my bounds, and step on your sensitivities. And so I see that. I noticed that. Sorry. So I think this movie is great. It'd be great for a lot of people, even people who are curious. Oddly enough, I was very curious about how abortions work, and I think I had this line of thinking about. I can't even remember what it was actually called. I don't know. Call it a defense mechanism. I don't know. But yeah, I got curious, and I went on. It was a Planned Parenthood. Did you know they won't allow you to put in allow screenshots for security reasons, for privacy, security reasons? I think they won't allow you to screenshot from your phone. That's surprising to me. I'm like, wow, really? I don't know what that's about. But that was just me. And so I read it, and it, oddly enough, I find it so funny, so weird, because it all kind of connected with me today, and how I saw it. And they said, like, okay, during the abortion there's the suction cue to the uterus, and then after that the person's gonna have cramping and like clumps clot cells, and that the person's going to the person should have ibuprofen if they have cramps, and that is similar. I mean, like after 8 weeks, they're going to be having the cramps and stuff, and it's going to be heavy period and clotting. And to me, I had an issue, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not a woman, so I take that information in faith, and which made me interested. Like, okay, is this stuff normal? Is it normal for women? And so it also gave me a greater appreciation, because I'm like, man, females go through a lot. I'm like, for me, all I'm worried about is like, man, am I cleaning my face right and stuff like that? Hey, looking pretty, walking around, hey, and they go through all this crazy stuff. I'm like, man, got me surprised. But the movie in itself is good. Like I read it from it. I want to say it was Planned Parenthood. I always get that tongue tied. But yeah, I watched it. I mean, I read the articles because I was curious. I was like, okay, how does this work? Because oh yeah, it was in regards to the defense when people say my body, my choice, and I was curious, like, are there repercussions to having continual abortions? Is there like biological repercussions? And it was making me think about the social topics and stuff about them wanting to do their choice. And I was thinking, like, okay, well, is there penalties for this? Because as far as I can tell, Christianity in itself have prohibitions, not for the sake of prohibitions, but because of safety and stuff like that. So, why should you not practice lust and continual repetitive sex? Why? Well, you heighten your risk of STDs, children, unwanted pregnancy, and I guess that makes sense. That's what trailed down to this. But yeah, so I learned a lot about all this stuff, and then yeah, I heard from this lady before. Like, I heard like her I heard her from I can't remember. Like, I want to say it was from a particular place, but I don't think it was from there. But yeah, I did hear in the news that like the director of like Planned Parenthood left. Like, she left. She wasn't doing it no more. And so I was like, oh, okay. So to me, it's kind of like, it reminds me of a lawyer in court when he says like the experts are allowed to give their opinion in a court hearing, but that's just like in the movie says, the law is different. And I think he says a fare is what you give a taxi, and the law is different. Oh, okay, sorry. And so when I see this, it made me think about, sorry, let me find my train of thought. Taxi, law, other things. I'm sorry, I see somebody moving past. Now I lost my train of thought. Was it abortion? I can't remember. But going back to it, it made me think about how I can't remember my train of thought. I guess this is kind of about it. The process, like, I mean, I say go over there. Planned Parenthood, and just check it out. See what the procedure is in the articles, and then I say check out that movie. I thought it was very informative. Dramatic, yeah, it's drama, but what movie doesn't have drama? And even if it's one that says based off a true story, that's secular or not, that everything's dramatic, I mean, otherwise they wouldn't have a movie, they'd have a documentary. And so the movie was good. I was very shocked in the beginning, but I'm like, what am I expecting? What was I expecting? Something clean? I'm like, they're legit taking matter from somebody's uterus. I shouldn't be surprised that's shocking. I shouldn't be. Why? I don't know. It's like we pick what we want to be sterilized. We pick what we want to be shown and not shown. We say, oh, that's inappropriate. I'm like, there's plenty of things inappropriate, but we allow it anyway. Plenty of you say cursing, sex, adultery, Game of Thrones, and I know that's a hot topic, but that's kind of unrelated. I only mention that because of its track record for like questionable behavior and in the media as media. But that's a whole different topic. I guess that's about it. I don't really have too much to say. I guess I like the movie. If I gave it a rating, it'd be a 6 or 7 out of 10. It's informative. It definitely shows the lady. And for people saying you're being exaggerating and stuff, I'm like, this is the director. This is a director of a head. The director. Is it the head of the clinic? I guess it's the head of the clinic. And so considering that, I'm like, it's a big deal. I'm like, it's one thing you could question some Joe Schmo, but I'm like, that's head of a clinic. That's the head of a clinic. If I'm gonna trust anybody's opinion, that I can trust that person's opinion. So that's what I got. I'll see y'all later.